Okay, class, we are on to the game design portion of our course. So, our first assignment is the game design steps. So, there are two parts to this assignment. So, the first part is your normal slide assignment, which I'm about to go over, and then your brainstorming assignment, which will be another video that I will go over with you. So, again, this is fairly basic. This is what we've been doing all year. You get a Google Slide assignment with some questions on it. We start off with a what did you know? I want to know what you know about brainstorming. What is it? Why is it important to start there? Again, if you don't know, go on Google, ask a friend, ask a family member. I just want to see what you know before we actually start the assignment. So, not necessarily looking for right or wrong answers. Just tell me, what do you know or what do you think you know? Our learning objective for this assignment is to identify the steps of the design process for creating a game. So let's go over to the overview. Again, I want you to pay attention to the slides. I don't expect you to read every word, every sentence, every paragraph. However, if I have it highlighted, if the words are a different size, a different color, if they're underlined, that means they're important. So definitely read that sentence. Look at those words or read that paragraph. So, the first thing we want to look at when we design a game are what elements do we need? So, very important concept here. Designing a game is similar to writing a story. It has to have a setting or an environment, a story and a plot, and characters. Those are the three critical elements of a game or a story: setting, plot, and characters. So, remember that. So on to the actual game design steps. So the steps in the game development process include first, brainstorming. Brainstorming is just spontaneously coming up with ideas. Some of the ideas are crazy, some of them are funny, but what you want to do or not do is think too much, right? The key word here in brainstorming is spontaneous. You're spontaneously generating ideas. And once you have those ideas, you move on to the next step, which is to create a storyboard. A storyboard is like a graphic organizer. You use illustrations or images on a piece of paper or software to represent parts of your game. You want to visually see how one scene is going to lead to the next scene. What's going to be in the background of the scene, what's going to be at the top, the bottom, how far away from the camera your character is going to be, how does level one relate to level two. Those are the things that a storyboard is going to help you understand. It's going to help you create a flow to your game by organizing it with graphics, with illustrations. So after you have your storyboard, you create a prototype. The prototype is the first functional example of your game. So it's working. It's not quite done, but you're able to play it on some level and experience the game. It's the first functional example of the game. Once you have that, you move on to the next step, which is test and gather feedback. You give it to people, you give it to friends, colleagues, family members, focus groups, and you have them test the game. So when you gather feedback, you should have people that are testing your game that have varying degrees of expertise with playing games. You don't want just expert gamers testing your game. And you don't want people that have never played a game just testing your game. You want a mix of those people because that is going to be your audience. And for your game to become popular or successful, you don't want to limit your audience. So, very important that you have varying degrees of expertise of people testing your game. Once you get that feedback, you'll go ahead and revise your game based off that feedback. Then you'll retest your game again, maybe gather a little bit more feedback, and then you'll finalize the game. That is not the last step, though. The last step, it potentially is the last step, but there's always the chance that you might have to revise and retest. As a designer, you're going to find that there's always something you miss. You misspell something, there's something you left out, or there's something you left in. So Be prepared that even when you think your game is done, you might have to go and revise and retest it if necessary. That will always be the last step, if necessary. All right, so your questions, these are basic questions that we have each assignment that you guys have had during this course. Anything with a green Q on it, I'm asking you to do something, answer something. Here, I'm asking for what the 3 elements are of a good game. If you don't remember, go back through the overview. The answers are there. True false question, you guys can go ahead and read that yourself. Remember, you're moving the coin. Is it true? Is it false? Next are the game design steps. Put them in order. Again, don't remember, go back through the overview. And then I actually have the game design step terms and their definitions. Take the shapes and move them around and put them in front of the correct definition. And then finally, I have the game design steps along with the keywords. Grab the keywords at the bottom and bring them up to the correct game design step term. Once you're done with that, wrap things up by telling me what you learned that maybe you did not know coming into this assignment, but you know now. And then you will end with your Google Form review. Remember, on these Google Form reviews, I fully expect you not to know all these questions and answers, but as you do assignments throughout this unit, you'll see the same questions over and over again, and then at some point you will get familiar with them. Once you're done with the Google form, you are done with part 1 of this assignment.